little
Good
bit.
morning.
Is moving the camera.
Morning.
Hi,
Oh,
how
I
are
see.
you?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay, you were bumping the camera apparently.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that was me, not you. I get too excited.
Okay. I'm excited too.
Oh, good. So Paul, thank you for being here with us this morning. And you've been processing people's residencies for as long as I've known you. So
More than 20
I was
years.
gonna say 20 years.
20
man.
years.
20 years. And you live in the city of Granada, don't you?
No, Managua.
Oh, you're in Managua?
Yes.
Why did I think you lived in Granada? Oh, well, it's a nice city too. But,
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Mike, thank you for joining. I'm glad you could make it. We're going to roll right into the residency stuff this morning, and we've got Sandy here as well off camera. So Mike and Sandy here live with us in Nicaragua. We had a nice meal last night at Doña Haide, a traditional restaurant here in Managua with some incredible foods. And last night after dinner, I said, well, what did you guys like best? And it was too hard because all the names of the different things, but I think almost everything, everyone said they would order again. So that was good news. It was a wonderful meal at Doña Haide. And so Paul, I guess we're ready to go, and we'd love to hear what you have. And if it's okay, after you kind of get through a presentation, these guys and the folks online can ask some questions.
Yes, of course.
Terrific.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Well, basically, the process to apply for residency is very easy. The most important is to prepare some documentation. That document have to be prepared by the applicant. The most important are the birth certificate, which it have to be obtained in the country of origin. A police record certificate stating that there are no records, of course. Okay, well, some records like the problem with driving, the IIU, that's not considered in Nicaragua a crime or something like that. So,
Sorry, I have to say it again. Okay. All right. You do what you need to. Hey, Alejandro, we are recording on Zoom, so this is being recorded. So, Paul, please go ahead.
Okay, no problem. So, we said that birth certificate, a police record certificate, a health certificate. The health certificate is just a letter from your doctor stating that you are in good health and you don't have any contagious disease. Those documents have to be legalized in your country, plus the source of income. So it will depend on what kind of residency the applicant will apply. There are several.
Right. So before you get to that, you mentioned legalized in our country.
Yes.
Tell what that means.
Okay,
that's very important.
That means if you're from the United States, you have to send those documents to the Secretary of State where the documents have been issued. Let's say in California, for example, like here. So you have to send it to the Secretary of State of California, and they will stamp a seal that is called apostille. That document or that apostille allows to be accepted in Nicaragua as an official document.
And can I?
If you are from Canada, yes, go ahead. No, please.
Because I have done this process, the apostille process. It sounds confusing to somebody who's never heard of it, but the process is actually very simple. You go to a local notary at your bank or a lawyer's office, and they notarize your document. The notary does. Then, if it's the state of California, for example, you go online, you look up the apostille office. It's the Secretary of State for your state, the Secretary of State for California, or in my case, West Virginia. You package everything up. They tell you send $10 or check for $10 made out to the Secretary of State, and you send it to their office. They will then apostille. And basically what the apostille is the Secretary of State is legalizing the notarization, right? The notary, they're saying the notary is legal and valid in the state of California, West Virginia, North Carolina, and then they send you this document back, your notarized document, with an additional seal, which is the apostille. So it's actually a very simple process. Just go online and find your Secretary of State. That's how easy it really is.
Just to be clear, they will add a page, a sheet of
they add a page.
Yes, and
Okay.
that is going to include the seal. Let me.
And you were going to say Canada too, but
let me explain you a little bit about the notarized documents. The document have to be notarized is the health certificate, but birth certificate and police records are official documents, so they don't need to be notarized.
just apostille.
Just apostille, and the letter doctor have to be notarized because it's not a public document.
Right.
It's a document from a private doctor.
I see.
Okay.
Yes.
So only the doctor letter have to be notarized. Police and birth certificate have to be just apostille.
Okay.
Okay. If there is a couple and they are going to apply together, well, we will need the license, the marriage license. Okay, the same. It have to be apostille. It doesn't need to be notarized because it's a public document. If the applicant is a retiree, for example, usually has a social security pension. So they receive every year a letter from the Social Security Pension Administration stating how much money they receive. The law states that it have to be considered retiree and to be able to apply for residency in Nicaragua, it have to be more than $1,000 per month. Okay, that pension have to be for the next 5 years. We know that if it's from the Social Security Administration, it's going to be per life.
Right.
Okay, but it could be a private pension. So that private pension should be for more than 5 years because the residency in Nicaragua lasts 5 years. The residency as a retiree. Okay, if it's a Canadian, it's a little bit different, a little bit more
complicated.
So what a Canadian have to do? The same process. It have to get the birth certificate, police record certificate, the letter from the doctor, and those documents have to be sent to Ottawa, to the Foreign Affairs Ministry for legalization. They will authenticate the document. I get that the person is the lady in the camera is from Canada. Because
Emily, this is Emily and she is Canadian.
Yeah, because she is, agree with me.
And last year I was going for similar process for Romania. So I'm very familiar with the process and I will tell you how it's really working in Canada. So now your turn.
So my experience had been, once the document is ready in Ottawa, you have to send it to a Nicaraguan consulate. Nowadays, there is one in Ottawa. However, they are brand new and they are asking a little bit more requirements. I have been working for more than 15 years with a consulate in Washington, and they have the authorization to legalize the document. So when you get the document from Ottawa, okay, from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, you can send it to Washington State in the United States, of course, and they will legalize in the Nicaraguan consulate. Usually, if you send a prepaid envelope, they will send it to my office. We have been doing that for years. So they are able to send it to my office by FedEx or DHL, and I will receive it here. Okay, that's the...
You know, Nicaragua doesn't have representation in Canada, in Ottawa. Why it's sent to Washington?
It's one, but it's very new, and they are requesting more. They are asking more requirements. But you can send it to the embassy in Ottawa too. However, if you ask me what to do, I prefer to do it with Washington because they work fast. Okay, they have more experience about it. Okay, Ottawa or the Nicaraguan consulate in Canada is brand new. They started to work last year, so they are familiarizing with this process. People in Washington have a lot of experience, so it's up to you, of course. When that document arrives to Nicaragua, I will legalize at the Foreign Affairs Ministry in Nicaragua to get the authentication of those documents.
Question, what kind of stamp you need? Round or this one? Because I've had questions. You know, there is two kind of stamps, round one. What?
No, it doesn't matter the kind of stamp. They will Usually it's if I am right, it's like a quarter, but
Okay, so all documents should be stamped. Canadian documents should be stamped.
in Ottawa, and then in a Nicaraguan consulate.
But it should be translated first to Spanish, I believe.
That's one of the requirements that the embassy in Ottawa ask. The consulate in Washington don't ask that. We can translate it in Nicaragua.
Oh,
So
it's
Emily, just
yeah.
you trust Paul on this one.
No, no, no.
Try
I trust, and it's very important. I can just tell you, like, your scenario is excellent for people who straight born in the United States or Canada. But we have many people like you as an immigrant. So last year, I was submitting my application to regain my Romanian citizenship. So I should submit my birth certificate from country of Moldova, my marriage certificate from country of Ukraine, my divorce certificate from country of Canada, and some other countries. So every country had like specific requirement. And I was speaking directly, I was flying to Ottawa to speak with Romanian consul, with Moldavian consul, and Canadians are not so straightforward. They're saying this stamp, because every country working differently with Canada, and Canada is not going under the GAG agreement, I already learned. So all should be translated in Romanian. And it's very strict, at least for Romania. It should be only this way and only this kind of stamp. So for people who emigrated like me, so the process might be, I'm just telling you, kind of more complicated. And police record, by the way, only 3 months. It should be kind of fresh, only 3 months. So even I don't live in Moldova, where I was born for 40 years. I need to provide police certificate only 3 months ago. And from all countries, I need to do the same. I mean, it's my experience, and application is more complicated. It's good if in Nicaragua process is simpler. Oh, and from Ottawa, like everyone should go to Ottawa to make this stamp. And some documents, for example, birth certificate of my children, one born in Ukraine and one born in Canada, they should go through the different process. And one should be this kind of stamp, and another should be this kind of stamp. It's my personal experience, and I still don't know if Romania, I submitted online, if Romanian consulate in Bucharest will accept it. Not consulate, but Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Emily, hold on just 1 second. Paul has some comments.
If you are not born in Canada or in the United States, for the other lady, you have to provide your birth certificate from your country of origin. So it's another language. Of course, it should be translated before to send it to this embassy or Secretary of State. Okay.
And that's going to vary, obviously, by the country that you're from, too. So if you're helping your clients, Emily is actually a real estate professional and travel professional. So she has a lot of clients who she will be helping to come to Nicaragua. So it's going to be very dependent upon which client you have and where they're from. And I think each one of those cases, Paul is very qualified to handle the specifics of those cases for each individual. So I think it will be a case by case,
what I am going to
process.
do, what I am going to do right now is to send a link with an article that I prepared years ago, and I prepared it with a Canadian client who had that experience. So we prepared together, and I am going to send Rachel, and probably Rachel can share with you. Okay, so for the path for Canadians is included in this link.
Immigrant.
Yes, you are going to have this, and it is online. It's from my website, so you will be able to share with your clients too.
And if immigrant from United States,
Excuse me?
many immigrants in the United States, people who born outside of United States.
Yes, it's well, this is the path for Canadian citizens or people who are coming from Canada. Okay. Yeah. Of course, I have another article for people around the world over. Okay?
Okay, so
We
each
share that information.
I would ask you, because it might be people, from, I'm mostly dealing with immigrants. I mean, people who live many years in Canada and United States, but they immigrants like me in from many different countries.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So that was the requirement for retirees. If somebody is coming because he's going to do an investment, that person have to form a corporation. That's the first step, to form a corporation. And the corporation have to do the investments in the country. For example, the TIC project.
Right.
This is a fantastic project that you are running in Grand Pacifica. So the owner of the farm, or it will be the corporation. When the corporation buy the farm, they will be able to apply for an endorsement from the economy ministry. That endorsement will state that this corporation is a foreign investor. And they advise to the director of immigration to get or to provide or to extend, to apply the
right.
residency to the shareholders. This is very important. The corporation is the umbrella. Everybody below the umbrella will get residency. For example, a couple and their kids. Okay? Yes.
Does that apply if you already have a corporation?
Excuse me?
That can be a U.S. corporation?
Yeah. Well, no, it have to be a Nicaraguan
Okay,
corporation.
so your U.S. corporation, can't be the investor. You have to form it.
You have to form one in Nicaragua. Yes, that's a very good question. It have to be a Nicaraguan corporation.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Mike, do me a favor, just say it a little louder so everyone can hear, please.
Okay, the question was, if your U.S. corporation could apply, it's not, it has to be a Nicaragua corporation. And I don't know if I'm asking too soon. How cumbersome is it to is it hard to form a Nicaragua corporation?
No. It's a really fast process and I am used to do it every day.
Okay.
So, well, I would like to do it every day, but yes. Yes, but that is something that we work very, very often.
Okay, paperwork and bank.
Yes, of course.
And Paul, you've helped many of the TEAC owners do this corporate process and put the TEAC as the investment and help them get residency.
Of course.
This is a process. And by the way, the tiny homes would also qualify for the investment. So you would have the tiny home under the corporation and then the shareholders of the corporation. So it's any investment that meets the financial minimum. 35,000, I guess.
Yes, 30 is the minimum.
Oh, 30,000 is the minimum. So if you make an investment of 30 or more, do it inside the corporation, then the corporation can sponsor you for the residency, the investor's residency. Did I say that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
May I ask about the approximate price to form a corporation in Nicaragua?
It's $1,500.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
And the investor's residency is good for how long?
5 years.
Same, 5
Yes.
years.
That is considered permanent residency, both retirees or foreign investor. There is another, it is very close than retirees, and I would like to explain this if it's okay.
Yeah, please.
There is another category, it is called rentier. Okay, rentier is a person who has investment and they receive a benefit, a revenue, monthly or per year. So the law states that it has to be more than $1,250. For example, if you sell your house and you do a private sale and the buyer sign with you a mortgage and is going to pay you in installments, let's say 5 years. Well, that is going to be considered an investment.
Income.
An income, a private income. So we can prove that, and that will give you the opportunity, because there are people who are young and they don't have a pension. They are not retirees yet, but they come to Nicaragua, they decided to buy this beautiful house and work online, for example, and they have an income, a private income abroad. So it could be benefits for investment in stocks, in bonus, in any kind of things. Okay, if the bank is going to give them $1,500 per year, per month, for example, well, that's going to be considered as a private income. Okay, there are another kind of example, but this is very easy.
Are there any age restrictions on this particular?
Yes, 45 years.
45 years.
45 years.
Okay.
Yes. For foreign investors, there are no restrictions.
I see. Okay.
For pensions, for retirees or rentier, is 45 years. Thank you for your question. It's really good. Yes.
You stated that $1,250, that has to be an income to you? I missed that.
Okay. If you apply as a retiree, it's $1,000 because you have a pension. Okay. You have a letter stating that you will receive a pension of more than 1,000.
Okay.
If you don't have a pension, but you have an income, a stable income that is going to last at least 5 years, okay, for example, revenues for an investment that you have in a corporation, okay, in the States or any other country, okay, it has to be $1,250. It's a little bit more, okay? Okay.
You just need to show an income of
per month. Yes, exactly. Okay, and very important. For example, if you are going to apply and you are married, okay, you have to prove that you have an extra of $150 for your couple, okay, for your spouse, okay?
So if you're married, you need $1,150.
I ask you a question because this is something that comes up a lot. Based on your experience, once you submit all the papers to the Nicaraguan immigration, what will be the time frame for someone to actually receive their residency card?
Usually it's around 6 months. It can take a little bit longer, okay, but usually 6 months. In just some specific situation, it has been take around a year. But there is nothing to worry about it because from the day that you submit your application, you are legal in the country. You just need to receive an extension of your tourist visa. Okay? So no problem at all. From the day that you submit your application, they will give you a small paper proving that you already submitted and you can stay legally in Nicaragua.
And let me just offer one sort of practical piece of advice, because that's a great question, Giovanni. How long does it take? One of the issues that we've seen over the years working just with this residency process is people will send 2 out of the 3 documents. They'll send their marriage license, the health certificate, but they won't send their police report or something like that. And then all of a sudden, you only have 2 of the 3, not all 3. Then they send the 3rd document in 3 months. Emily, you brought up the idea of the freshness of the documents. Many of these documents expire, and you might want to talk about that, how recent those documents need to be. And then what happens is you're always chasing the documents, and then you got to get new ones. And so the absolute foolproof way to do this is every document you need fresh within 30 days. Notarized, apostille, blah, 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 and off to Paul. Then he gets a packet that's fresh with everything he needs. Then it's 6 months to a year. When the problems we see are when people don't send everything all at once, and then you're just chasing documents forever. And that's a process for failure. So
I have a question. I'm sorry, speaking about freshness, like birth certificate was done many years ago. What about freshness? Notarization date, legalization date for the document of event happened many years ago. There is limit, like police record 3 months from Canada, I understand, but there is some due date for other documents.
Yeah, no, the freshness has to do with the police report and your health certificate.
That's it.
Health.
I was going to include this information. If you're in Nicaragua and your document expire, you can apply for a local health certificate, which is in Spanish, and it is free. Also, you can apply for an Interpol certificate. So the Interpol has an office in Nicaragua, and they will issue a certificate stating that you don't have record. So if you're in the country, you can do that. For example, sometimes some people move to Nicaragua, they stay some time, and they take the decision to start a project here and apply for residency. So I don't want to go back to Canada, or I don't want to go back to the States. So what can I do? Okay, just ask to some familiar to send you your birth certificate, and we will get the other documents in Nicaragua. That means the Interpol certificate and the health certificate. Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Do you have any other question?
Speaking about health certificate, it should be from the local family doctor or some specific doctor?
No, just a local doctor.
And
Your
they,
family doctor.
they have some special forms then?
It have to be notarized
Notarized.
and then authenticated. The most important that the letter have to state that you are in good health and you don't have any contagious disease.
Or, soon will be travel passport, like they're speaking about already new international travel card, travel passport, which is include immunization and some health records.
No, just a family doctor letter. It's very simple. What happens when somebody has a high pressure, for example, or any other condition? Well, the doctor have to state that. So if, Nicaraguan authorities will say, okay, this person has a condition, but with the treatment, he is going to be in good health. So nobody has to be worried about it if he has a specific condition, because it is normal, absolutely normal.
Right. Hey, I'm sorry, one other topic that doesn't exactly relate to residency, but it does relate to the investment. And that's something that a lot of people we don't like to talk about dying, do we? Nobody likes to talk about dying, but we all probably will, I'm pretty sure. So the thing that we recommend is when somebody makes the investment, whether it's teak or a home, that you immediately upon the transaction, the closing of the transaction, also set up, in this case, a Nicaraguan will that's legal in this country, so that it's done the moment, because it's easy. You're already sitting with Paul, you're sitting, he's got all the paperwork. So talk a little bit about a will and why that's so important, because it really is important.
Yes, the Nicaraguan legal system is a little bit different than the Canadian and the American. So it is important to have a document that can prove what are you going to happen with your logins and your real estate once you are not here. So we prepare the will and testament. I can prepare the will and testament, and I am doing very often too. Okay, so you can declare who is going to be the beneficiary or beneficiaries of this property. Okay, it's very simple, and you are going to keep it with you, and I am going to keep a copy with me. So in the future, of course, you will say to your relatives, hey, Paul is my lawyer, this is the email, the phone number, okay? And the website, you can contact him if I pass away, and he had the will, for example. And that will have to be registered to transfer the property to the beneficiaries.
I have a question. If I have will, for example, in Canada, should I include this information in my Canadian will, that I have another property and will with you, like in Nicaragua, for example?
Okay, one more time, please. At the beginning, I couldn't hear.
I have already will here in Canada.
Right.
And I would have another one. Should I reference that I have another will in another country, actually property in another country in my Canadian will?
You can describe it, but it's not going to have any effect in Nicaragua. So it is not a problem, but this will have effects in Nicaragua. Actually, it will have effects abroad.
Yes.
Okay. We know that you can bring the Nicaraguan will if you include the properties in the United States or in Canada, and you have to follow, the beneficiaries have to follow a process in that country.
But the opposite is not true. A US or Canadian will has zero impact, is not legal in Nicaragua. You must, under civil law, you must have a will in Nicaragua for it to be valid in Nicaragua. So when you make your investment, please have Paul make a will for you as well. You won't be around to worry about it, but your kids will hate you if you don't. So anyway.
What happens if you don't do that? We have to go to court and ask to be declared, that they have to be declared as an heir. So it's more expensive, the lawyers charge more, and takes more time, okay? The advantage of a will in Nicaragua, especially that with my experience or my knowledge about the wills in the United States, is that a will in the United States, you have to go to a process that it is called probate. It is correct? In Nicaragua, that will and testament, it doesn't have to be in court for the probate. It's absolutely legal, it's absolutely ready when the person died, and we prove that that person died with a death certificate, and that's it. So you can transfer the property immediately. There is no probate in Nicaragua.
When you make application, must you stay in the country?
Oh, yes. Yes, you have to be in Nicaragua when you do the application, and immigration will visit you. So they will go to Grand Pacific and they will say, hey, we are looking for this person, and they will do an interview. Okay.
Okay, and how long does that process take?
Around 6 months, between 6 months to a year.
Okay. But the initial interview
is probably 1 or 2 months. After that, we submit the application.
Okay, so if somebody's living in the United States and they want to apply for residency,
have to come to Nicaragua.
Come to Nicaragua, schedule an interview.
Exactly. Wait for the interview because it is not a specific time. Okay. They just appear as without appointment. Okay. That's the truth. Immigration agent just appear one day, and after the interviews, you can leave the country for vacations, or if you have to leave the country during the interview didn't happen yet, we can submit a letter saying, hey, I am waiting for the interview. However, I have to go to the state because I have this relative sick, for example, right. Or I have to go and to do a test or a surgery. I will come back to Nicaragua in 3 months. No problem at all. Okay, so there are several situations that we will resolve, right, in the moment. Okay.
I'm sorry, what happened after 5 years of the residency? Because it was mentioned a couple of times, residency is for 5 years.
Okay, that's a very good question. After 5 years, you have to apply for the renewal.
Oh, renewal.
Renewal.
And
yes.
Again, the same process?
No, not exactly. Because you already have a file in Nicaragua at the immigration department. So they already know that you are a resident. They will request some documents, but from Nicaragua. The police record from the local police in Nicaragua, the letter doctor or the health certificate from the Nicaraguan authorities, which is very easy to get it. In San Rafael, for example, you go to the public health care, right, or health center. They do just some question and they provide. Right? The only document that you have to bring from your country of origin is the pension letter, right, saying that you still are receiving the pension.
And you should live in Nicaragua all this time? Like, what about the residency? How long?
Okay. For retirees, the law states that you have to live at least 6 months, not continuously, but 6 months in Nicaragua. Okay, you can go back and forth. However, there is an exemption according to the law. And the exemption is for those who has a real estate property in the country and the cost is more than $75,000. So if you buy a eco home,
tiny home,
okay,
yeah,
that is going to cost more than 100,000,
right?
Okay, you have the exemption.
Exemption not to live 6 months.
Exactly.
And if you're not retiree, if you're younger,
Sorry?
if you're not retiree yet, you're working in different country, what about?
You don't
If
understand.
you're not a retiree.
If you're not a retiree, if you're a foreign investor, you don't have restriction. You have to be at least once per year.
Ah,
I'm sorry.
okay. So no citizenship required. I mean, we are not speaking about citizenship, which has some caveats for me because it doesn't accept dual citizenship.
If you want to apply for citizenship, you have to be resident first, at least 4 years.
Okay.
After 4 years, you will be able to apply for citizenship. And that's another process. You have to do a test about the Nicaraguan culture, of course, in Spanish. So that person have to be really prepared to do the test. Okay, you have a question?
Yes. Said corporation and you have 4 people as investors, they only have to come once a year,
4 people. Why 4 people?
family of 4.
Okay, a family of 4. Yes, of course.
So, and that's a really good point, Mike. So you can't have the 4 of us around the table. It's got to be a family of 4 with that one investment, right?
Right.
So it's got to be a family, but yes. But
Okay.
no, but because sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to get my buddies, we're going to buy this, and then we're going to each own a piece of this company, we'll get residency. That does not work. I mean, I think at a certain dollar threshold, it probably does, but as a family, no problem. But Mike's question then is, let's say it's a family of 4, all 4 get the residency, but that would be,
As a foreign investors.
but that's for an investor. So each of them would have to come once a year, or the head of the family could come once a year?
No. Residency are individuals.
It's individual.
It's
Okay.
individual. It's individual. Thank you. So everybody have to come at least once per year.
Was that your question? I wanted to.
Yes, that's basically it. So conceivably, if you have 4 employees of the corporation or 4 owners of the corporation, they could come down once a year
Yes.
To meet the requirement.
to meet the requirement.
Yes, exactly. I have another thing that I would like to share. It is not necessary to have any Nicaraguan shareholder. Corporation can be formed just for foreigners. Okay, that's a very important point. Sometimes some people said, hey, you need, for example, in some countries, as far as I understand, in Panama, you have to be formed by
Yes, you have to have a local, at least one local
a
shareholder.
local shareholder. In Nicaragua, we don't have that. We don't need to do that. Okay? 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it doesn't matter how many. Foreigners can form a corporation, and you don't need to have a local, a Nicaraguan shareholder. However, you need at least 2 shareholders. Okay? There is no
Single person.
single proprietorship or single shareholder. You have to be at least 2. It could be 99% of the shares and the other 1%, for example. But it has to be at least 2.
Sorry, I think it was forgotten one document, like American passport. Why it's not in the list of documents? Should it be provided? List of documents should start from the passport from your current country.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Repeat one more
You need a
time.
passport. You need a copy of your passport with the
Copy of my
application.
passport.
Oh, yes, yes.
But notarized?
No. It's a simple photocopy. That we will do it here because we need to take the photocopy with the last stamp when you come to the country. You
Okay.
need to legalize the passport, the photocopy of the
And-
passport.
And Emily, Paul will send the list of everything very specifically to everyone, you for Canadian, others for US. And I think, then when you see the list, it may have some other things that make questions, but I think Paul's information is very, very comprehensive. Yeah, he's been doing this for a long time and has helped a lot of folks do this very, very successfully and very smoothly. And quite honestly, that's all I really care about, right? I mean, at the end of the day, what I want to make sure is when somebody applies for their residency, that it's a smooth, easy process. And Paul, you do that, man. Thank you. You make it as easy as it can possibly be for our clients to get their residencies here. Thank you. I mean, really.
My pleasure. You can search. My website is Tiffer, T as in Tom, IFFER, law firm. It's just one word, tifferlawfirm.com, and you will find
And
everything that we have been talking about it and more.
And Paul, when you send, if you send this to Rachel,
Of course.
the documents, she will circulate it to everybody who's with us today and on the call, so that they have everything that you.
I offered that before.
Thank you. No, thank you. That's great.
Okay.
And I do have one question that I just want to clarify as well. And Mike, you mentioned it, but I wasn't sure if I understood. So let's say we have two friends who want to invest in a tiny home, one of the Ava homes, for example, and they both want their residency. They can set up the corporation. They'll each be 50-50 owners or equal owners. And then they cannot both apply for residency under one corporation, or they can?
Of course.
Because it's $50,000 each, right? They've each invested $50,000.
Okay, so then for
The most important part is that the corporation, not the individuals, invest more than $30,000. So if the property costs $100,000, not at all. Okay.
got it. But for teak, for example, if they do the teak package of $30,000 and it's 50-50, they can't each apply.
They can.
Oh, they can.
Yes.
One investment?
Yes.
The $130,000 investment.
Yes.
Two
Because it's
shareholders.
the corporation, they look at the total of the corporation. That's why.
No family. Rachel and I decide tomorrow to invest in a TIC project. Okay, Paul, let's do a corporation together. She is living abroad. I am here. We form the corporation. We are not couple, etc. We are just business shareholders. So put the corporation together. She will be able to apply for the residency.
Yeah, but if it's
because I am Nicaraguan.
Right, but if it's two Americans,
It doesn't matter.
$130,000 investment,
Yes, no problem.
no problem.
No problem.
If you look at the corporation is what it is, because I heard you say differently, Mike, so I just wanted to correct that because I understood differently, so just wanted to make sure.
I think in Panama, each shareholder must have attributed the minimum investment to qualify.
Okay.
What you're saying is that's not the case here.
No, it's not the case.
Okay.
It
Great.
is the case, this is very important, it's going to be the case if in the future you want to include somebody else. You have a corporation right now, you form the corporation today, and let's say in a year, okay, your sister decided to move to Nicaragua and say, hey, I want to move to Nicaragua and I would like to invest in the TIC project, but I don't want to form a new corporation. Why we don't use yours? Okay, the government will say, okay, this new shareholder have to prove, and there is a process to prove it with a CPA and this and that, that you are including somebody else, but that person that you are included is investing another $30,000. This is the exemption.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
But for people who are forming from the zero, okay, it's just $30,000.
Got it.
Nicaragua is actually very foreign friendly.
Yeah.
At the moment to apply for residency.
It always has been very foreign investor friendly, and and that's one of the reasons we love working here.
Right.
Nobody asked it, but for those who are not resident yet, it is also possible to open a bank account in Nicaragua. And of course, I will be pleased to help you or help those people to open a bank account. There are one or two banks. Specifically, we work with one bank. They are really foreign friendly, and you can open a bank account without being resident yet. Okay?
It's great.
Is there a minimum amount that you need to have in that bank account?
$100 or something like that.
One more time, Paul, how much was that?
Probably is $100 or something like that.
Minimal.
It's the minimum for everybody.
Okay,
Yes.
that's just banking rules. That's not illegal.
Right. That's
Yes.
just
It's
the
just
banking
whatever the
standard.
banking.
Yes,
minimum
exactly.
account.
It's the requirement of the bank.
Tell me, please, for corporation, if required to do yearly accounting or taxation report, you know, as in many countries, you need to provide report yearly for corporation.
So yearly accounting for the corporation, tax filings, those types of things.
Okay. For a corporation like the owner of a TIC project or an eco home, those are corporations that they are not going to have activity. So we are going to submit a declaration in zero because you're not doing exactly business. For example, as this hotel, for example, that they are doing business every day. So they have a very strict and large accounting system. Okay. But for a corporation who is going to receive revenues in 5 or 10 years or 20 years, like TIC, okay, at the first years is going to be in zero, the declaration. Okay, but there is something that we can help you, of course.
I need to provide the zero anyway.
Yeah. Yes, you have to declare every month.
Mm-hmm. Every month?
Every month. Yes.
Okay.
The corporation have to declare every month. That's the rule for every corporation. The advantage is that you are doing zero activity right now. Okay, in comparison with this hotel, for example, that we are right now, that they are doing several activities every day.
Do you do that, Paul, online?
Yes.
I can do it from like Canada.
Yes,
United
of course.
States. I just, boom, okay.
Yes, of course.
Right. So Emily, if you want to look at those details, again, that's something I think that's we got to wrap this up right at the end of the hour, so we got to go. But the details on that, once it's set up, it's very easy. You can do it from, like Giovanni said, you can do it from the States yourself. You probably want Paul to help set up that process. It's electronic, but once you're done, then once a month you just make the filing, and it's easy and it's simple to do that. Or someone like Paul and his firm can do that on your behalf every month as well. So Rachel, I don't know if you have anything else. I know we're kind of getting up against where we've got to get out and about. So.
Right. I know. And this was a very dynamic call, and thank you. I appreciate it. Really great questions asked. Emily, I know your questions were a little specific to your situation, so we'll get you those specific details. And then if there's anything else that you guys have on your mind, we'll get you Paul's contact information. And Paul, feel free to send me over the information you mentioned as well. And we'll make sure all of the people on our virtual tour have it. We have probably about 10 more people who didn't make it this morning, so they'll at least get the recording and hear from you, Paul, and then we'll go from there. So thank you, ladies, for waking up with us here. We do appreciate it. We hope you have a great day. It looks like, Lisa, the sun is up by you.
Yeah. It is rising.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, Sandy and Michael, have a really great time in Nicaragua. We wish we were all there with you, but you're in great hands with the team there on site. And Paul, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. You truly are an expert in what you do. I know you've been doing this for a couple of decades now, so I'm sure you've seen it all, or at least many variations of circumstances. So we do appreciate that. And our group will be in touch as questions arise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.